The year is 2005, the month December. A small startup with a dream of streaming video online has its first major break. An SNL skit, one that is impossible to find anywhere else, has gone viral, and the video being shared links back to YouTube. Suddenly, a massive influx of traffic is resulting in YouTube becoming the cultural mainstay it is today. All of America is pretty much trained overnight that YouTube is the way to upload, share, and view videos. This leads to problems. You see, YouTube already had high costs when it came to maintaining bandwidth and storage. They were burning through roughly $1 million a month just to maintain their website's functionality. Add into that an explosive growth and the fact that they had no way to monetize their website up to this point. The original $11.5 million of funding they received had long ago burned away. On top of that, lawsuits were a near certainty in the future for YouTube if they could not find a way to prevent people from uploading copyrighted content to their video streaming platform. What to do? Well, why deal with the problem yourself when you can sell it off? On October 9th, 2006, before dealing with really any of these problems, Google bought YouTube for $1.65 billion. That might seem like a lot of money for Google to push into a website which up to this point had not been making money in any way, shape, or form. But with many people seeing the potential for YouTube, Google's stock price increased by $2 billion within a few months of acquiring YouTube, causing them to gain back their investment, not even while monetizing the platform they purchased itself. Today, more than 1.3 billion people use YouTube every month. 300 hours of video are uploaded every single minute, and almost 5 billion YouTube videos are watched. Without realizing it, YouTube has just made an incredible point and laid the groundwork for the streaming wars. Not only can videos be reliably streamed online, but it can be sustainable and, more importantly, profitable. But we need to rewind first to fully understand the context of the streaming wars, all the way back to 1997. Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph launch Netflix with a $2.5 million initial investment, a good chunk of which came from Randolph's own mother. The two men had a simple idea. Why not simply use the United States Postal Service to conveniently deliver people movies to their homes every night? Once the people have finished their films, they simply return them, and it's much more convenient, theoretically, than driving to the movie rental store, or at this time in America, otherwise known as Blockbuster. For 3 years, Netflix struggles to make this business model work. The year is now 2000, and Netflix has 300,000 subscribers, but is rapidly losing money. The costs of maintaining this interconnected web of movie deliveries is higher than initially predicted. Reed Hastings has an idea. What if we could simply be bought out and merge with a larger company? He decides to fly out to Dallas to meet with some Blockbuster representatives. At this time, Blockbuster has over 7,700 stores nationwide, renting mainly VHS tapes, and actually, this is true, being one of the largest vendors of popcorn within America. I just didn't know that, and I thought it was a fun fact. Hastings at this point had a crazy idea. Let's stream movies over the internet for our customers. Now, this is 6 years before YouTube would find success, and the technology in the year 2000 made this essentially a pipe dream. But he still approaches Blockbuster with the idea: buy 49% of Netflix for $50 million, and we will merge with you and handle all online movie streaming as well as maintaining a movie delivery service for you. With the technology needed still being theoretical, Blockbuster has a fairly understandable response. They see a company losing money that needs a buyout to exist, and if this company goes away, it only benefits Blockbuster. They say, "No way, Jose." Still to this day, Blockbuster gets a lot of crap for making this decision, with Netflix evolving into a multi-billion-dollar company, but with the context of what was happening in the year 2000, it actually becomes a rather understandable move. Let this company die, and then you continue to dominate. Unfortunately for Blockbuster, in the year 2007, Hastings had seen YouTube's success. Hastings sees that his idea of delivering movies and TV shows to your computer screens can happen. So Netflix, in 2007, becomes a streaming service. In the years between 2000 and 2007, Netflix had already found much more success than initially predicted, but as soon as its streaming service finds ground within the American public, the value of the company explodes. They've made it. They're no longer talking in millions, they're talking in billions. Competition is not far behind. In fact, in that same year, 2007, Hulu.com is launched as a private site. It's a joint venture between AOL, Comcast, Facebook, MSN, MySpace, and Yahoo. They initially begin by streaming NBC and Fox content. In 2008, they launched to the public. While Netflix arguably started as the fevered pipe dream of a struggling businessman, Hulu started as a joint venture between executives at studios. They wanted to see if this whole streaming idea had legs. It was a lot more organized, a lot more corporate, and it's why Hulu has often been seen as the polar opposite of Netflix, and why they've seemed to always follow Netflix's ideas. Hulu has experimented more specifically with the type of content they do host on their streaming platform, allowing shorter clips and occasionally venturing into originals, which they are now doubling down in. But do not let that fool you. Netflix was the first streaming service to have its own successful, widely critically acclaimed streaming original show. But when Hulu finally did find major success, that was the start of the streaming wars. These streaming services may not have known it, but they had begun a trend that would soon dominate the way media is consumed online. While Netflix's rise did without a doubt directly lead to the downfall of the company they once offered to sell themselves to, Blockbuster, it has also directly inspired so many copycats and oh so much competition. The streaming wars are about to enter their zenith. We as consumers are seeing this very clearly. With the rise of mega corporate backed streaming services like Amazon Prime, Apple TV, HBO Go, HBO Now, and soon to be HBO Max, as well as soon to be Disney Plus, they will begin to struggle. This doesn't even hit on the larger streaming service battlefield, which also includes services like PlayStation Vue, Sling, DirecTV Now, AT&T Watch, YouTube TV, Crunchyroll, CBS All Access, Philo, Roku, Showtime streaming service, the DC Universe streaming service, which is coming down the road because of course that needs to be a thing, ESPN Plus, Filmstruck, T-Mobile is starting their own streaming service seriously, Tubi, Yahoo View because Yahoo refuses to let go and die, Zumo, Funimation, Shout Factory, as well as many, many more. I could make this a 10-minute video of just me listing the new competition. This doesn't even take into account maybe the largest threat facing Netflix and the original streaming services. Many channels who initially willingly gave their content to the streaming services like Netflix for big, fat, 10, 20, $30 million paychecks a year, I'm not kidding, they're that large, now see the benefit of pulling their content once their contracts are up, harming Netflix, a company they see as direct competition now, and instead making it so that if you want to watch The Office, if you want to watch Friends, you must pay for their streaming service, the one they profit from more directly. This is why you are seeing Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, these streaming services that don't have this backlog of content to fall to, double down on original programming. Netflix alone has purchased more than 40 original IPs they're hoping to convert into profitable new shows. And that is where the tie-in to the fantasy genre begins. Game of Thrones changed everything. HBO went from being an established network to one that Americans either need to had a subscription to or steal a subscription to just so they could watch the money bag creating show Game of Thrones, a fantasy adaptation. And now Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and many more are looking to science fiction and fantasy properties to adapt and hopefully ride the wave of massive, expensive, yet profitable adaptations to rely on as the backbone for their streaming service. We now, as consumers, are on the cusp of seeing this war truly begin. I'm very excited. It will be interesting, and my wallet is going to hurt paying for all these streaming services so I can review their shows for you.